There we go. Good morning, everybody. I guess it's afternoon for me, but my guest today is out in Portland, so it's morning for him. Uh, my guest today is Paul Tobin. So welcome to 22 Panels, Paul. Um,
Glad to be
we're
here.
we're big fans of yours here. I feel like last year either Tyler or I was listing a book of yours. We highlight three books that we love every week, and between Bunny Mask and Calculated Man feel like either Tyler or I were listing you like every week, and
That's
then
nice.
and then I loved the Voyage des Gourmet.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
I love actually your versatility. There aren't a lot of people that I'm told your horror is quite good. I haven't gotten to do it yet. I just copped to that off air, so I'll cop to it again on air. Our listeners know I'm not the horror guy, though comics are the only genre that I really can do horror in. So I've been diving more into horror comics, but
Mm.
it's also the platinum age of comics. There are too damn many good comics to read them all.
It's so fascinating. One of the benefits of being an older guy now is looking back on different generations of comics and it's like, wow, there were whole decades where I was like, there are maybe 10 comics I want to read. And now it's like there are weeks where it's like, well, there are 20 comics I want to
Yeah,
read. And I am not a rich person.
right, right. I'm a
So you have
teacher.
to, yeah.
My wife's a teacher.
Oh, good.
We like have a budget, and
Yeah, you don't
lots of
have,
it goes into comics.
uh-huh. Yeah, I used
Um,
to run a comic store
oh,
and
nice.
I got to read everything for free. And then I moved here to Portland and I started working in Powell's Books, which is like the biggest
Okay. Yeah,
bookstore in the world, basically. And you
right.
could take books home for free. So for like a significant portion of my life, everything that I read was just take it home, it's free. And now it's
There you
like,
go.
what, pay? What?
But you need to have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't currently for chunks of my life I've had like side hustles at comic shops where I literally just worked for books. It's
Mhm.
like pay me. No, I don't want money because I'm just gonna spend it here. So we'll just work out
I think
how
that
many
actually
dollars worth of comics I get to take home.
I think that actually helped me out because, like, before I ran the comic store, I was doing like you with like just kind of not volunteering, but helping out
Right,
now and then.
right.
And my pay was like maybe $100 a week, but also $150 of credit a week.
Oh,
And when you're
oh,
getting that much credit in a week, and
oh
this was
yeah.
like like early 90s, so the
I mean,
money was a
even
lot
now,
more.
150 in credit a week would take
Yeah,
care of my comic habit.
yeah. So I was like, in order to use that credit, I was like constantly trying things that I wouldn't have tried
Yeah.
otherwise.
Well, and
And it
that's one of the
expanded
keys.
my
I mean,
horizons.
we actually we had this discussion briefly on a not quite published podcast, but by the time anybody's listening to this, the Ryan K. Lindsay discussion will be up where we talked a little bit about the whole idea of pirating comics, pirating music, blah blah blah, and the fact that uh, is it really though? Because how many of those people were gonna buy it, and how many of those people, if they like it, will wind up giving you money at some point?
Yeah, there's some gray
it's that
lines.
it's that borderline. It's certainly not a 1-to-1 every time somebody pirates a copy. That's $5 out. No, because
Yeah,
there's a really good chance that they weren't going to read it if they couldn't get it for free.
yeah. And then to a certain degree, it's marketing. It can work in
Right.
that way.
Exactly.
There's
The
there's pluses and minuses. That could be
oh,
like a 12-hour podcast right
oh,
there.
absolutely. And we hit on it here and there, but yeah, no, I mean the key, and that's why podcasts are useful is, somebody else will read the comic and say, "Hey, this is great."
Hmm.
So God, I've read or reread so much of your stuff in the last 48 hours just because I fell down a rabbit hole that I don't even know where I want to start. So where do you want to start today, Paul? Let's start at the beginning. How'd you get into comics?
Well, I always read comics. I think my grandmother was like maybe the genesis of it because she would go to garage sales a lot, garage
Okay.
sales, estate sales, things like that. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot. She would hit up like three or four a day.
Right.
Um,
I
and
definitely know people that do that.
Yeah, and she lived in the country in Iowa where I grew up, and
Okay.
she had like garages, barns, blah blah blah, and they were all full. They were all just full of stuff. So I would just
Okay.
rummage through them and find comics and just read
Okay.
comics, which I think is part of why I read or write pretty much everything, because I grew up reading pretty much everything. I mean,
Right.
if it was Hulk versus Submariner, that was awesome. But if it was,
Right.
Baby Huey, that's also great.
Right.
It
Right.
didn't matter to me. So I grew up in comics, like reading them, and then when I went to college, the big step was meeting my friend Phil Hester, who was getting
Okay.
into comics at the time,
We
and he
haven't
was
talked to Phil yet, but Phil ties into all sorts of people that we've talked to.
he's a spider web of
I
connect.
always forget, is it Phil or um is it Phil or Andy Parks that was Rob Neyer's roommate?
Can't
It's one
remember.
of the two. But Phil and Andy do all sorts of work together, which is
Oh
why
yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah. Well, yeah. The first time I met Andy through Phil, so
Okay.
we were working on a book called Fringe, like way back in the, oh my God, I don't even want to say it. Um, but yeah,
I
and I
mean,
just
we had Howard Chaykin recently, so it can't be that far back.
okay, well, early 90s I was working with Phil, or late 80s. Yeah, I'm not shaking back. Uh, but yeah, I got into it from that, and then I kind of got out of comics for a little while. But when I moved here to Portland, my wife was still wanting to do comics. My wife is Colleen
Yeah, I
Cooper.
was about to say you're married to Colleen Cooper, aren't you?
Yeah,
As I was reading stuff, I'm like, I should have invited them both.
yeah, she's downstairs. Uh, I think
We'll
she's
get
playing.
her next time.
Yeah, she's playing a new video game right now. There's no way you
Ah,
can
well
hear.
then we're not gonna have you ask her now. I know how that goes.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, we moved to Portland to sort of get into comics a little more because this is a very comic town,
Oh,
and
my brother actually recently moved to Portland for other reasons, but I'm like, oh, I need to visit. Like
yeah,
half the people I know in comics are in
yeah, it's
Portland.
amazing how many comics people are here.
I would have lunch with a friend every day if I came and visited you.
Well, we're all working now. It's like hard to get together.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, and then meeting people like Steve Lieber, Jeff Parker, things
Right.
like that. It kind of blossomed from there, and I was back into comics. I got grumpy in comics for a while, like during the late 90s. I didn't
I think
like,
everybody gets grumpy at some point in
yeah,
comics, is what it seems like, with
yeah,
few exceptions. I mean, I feel like Bendis never stopped loving them.
yeah. I think that's kind of true. He
But
never had time to stop loving it.
well, yeah. There's handful of people that never get grumpy, but I think everybody, like, they have a book or two that they were really excited about that either don't sell well, or worse still, don't get finished because
Mhm.
they didn't sell well or the company went under or
Right. Yeah, it can
um
be very disappointing. I know a ton of creators, and I know very few creators that don't consider their best works to be unpublished. That
yeah.
just pitches that they can't get anybody to do or things like that.
One of my favorite comics that I read last year, um I got slipped a PDF from a friend, and it was amazing. And and the given publisher that will remain unnamed right now didn't pay the artist, and then didn't pay the artist, and then didn't pay the artist, so they never got a release date. And then he finally had to go do something else. and
Yeah,
and right now there's just this beautiful one issue that very few people have gotten to see.
it's so frustrating.
Right.
And especially, I mean, even more so. I mean, for me, if I'm going to write something, well, I mean, it can take me a long time developing and things like that, but I can do it in conjunction with other things. But an artist
Right.
not getting paid, it's like
Oh yeah. Oh
that's not
yeah.
only the money didn't come in, that's time spent that
Right.
they can't get that back.
Right.
That
I think they finally got paid for the first issue, but they didn't get like the advanced type stuff that they were supposed to get for future issues. And by the time they even got paid on the first issue, they'd had to take other work.
right. Yeah.
It's a job.
Yeah. Yeah. I've lost several series by having to tell the artist, look, I appreciate your loyalty on wanting to stay on, but you cannot. You have to go.
Right. Right.
You
You
know?
need to go make money. You have a
Yeah.
family or even just rent.
Hmm.
Um, that's a recurring theme on this show. We're in favor of our people getting paid. I
Yep.
don't believe in sellouts. You
I don't,
know,
I don't either.
somebody going and they got paid. I
Hmm.
don't care if it's not their best work. I don't care if you're sitting there going, I'm just going to use you as an example because I actually like these and I work special ed
Okay.
and I actually laughed really hard because one day while I was reading um Calculated Man at school, one of my students showed me the Plants vs. Zombies that he was reading. I'm like, they're written by the same guy. He's like, no, that's not possible. But that's a paycheck. Take it, damn it.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy Plants vs. Zombies though, but
He loves it. I haven't gotten to it yet. The fact that you wrote it makes it more likely that because good writers can play in any sandbox, just like good musicians can play in any sandbox.
it just, I
Good
mean,
artists can find a way to make it interesting.
that's something that drives me crazy because I have so many, like, I was going to say friends, but mate, let's chop it down to acquaintances. Because so many writers I hear, oh, I don't want to work on this character or this book because I just don't like it. And I'm like, but that's your job.
Right.
It's your job to make it likable. It's your job to find
Well,
that joy.
if you can live and you just don't connect, well, that's fine.
Hmm. But I
Go.
think if you're a
But if
writer, you
you're
should
looking
be
for a
able to do
paycheck
that.
and you got offered something, find a way to connect.
Yeah, find a way to connect. That's literally the job of a writer to me is to love what you're doing. If you don't love what
And
you're
more
doing,
often than
you're not
not,
doing a good job.
I'm willing to bet that if you don't love the character and you take it on and you were recruited for. I gave Ram V a hard time when we had him on last because I'm like, dude, I was never going to read a Venom comic. I was never going to read an Aquaman comic. And now I have to read both because of you. He's like, well, you don't have to. I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah, you
I
kind
don't
of
not read Ram V comics.
do. Yeah, it can be tough at times. I mean, there have been some jobs that I can't say I was like 1,000 points behind. Like when I
Right.
used to work at Marvel, they would give me uh like advertising comics that would go for like, a mattress company or something like that. And it's hard to find the joy. But even there I found the joy because like
Some of those are fun.
they were fun to a certain degree. And
I haven't done many of the mattress company ones, but I've seen a couple of the ones for car companies.
yeah,
I used to love the Hostess one page in-house ads.
I have a Hostess original right here. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
it.
Um, and somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. And you
So it
find
all
like that mattress one, I was
right.
able to team up with Steve Lieber. So even though it was like
I
I'm not
now
like
want
going,
that
ooh boy.
mattress one.
Yeah.
I want a copy of that mattress comic now.
And it was, it's always fun working with Steve because he's one of my
That's what
best
I'm
friends.
saying. Steve Lieber, Paul Tobin, that uh, you could make it about mattresses without the Marvel characters, and I
Mhm, right.
probably. That's the beautiful thing about comics. There's so many things that
Hmm.
because comics are more. Just take it to horror. The reason I can read horror comics, even though I can't read the fiction, I can't watch the movies, is they're the ones where I have control over how in a movie, the director and the editor decide how long the scene is.
Yeah, the
In
pacing and all that.
in prose, um, the writer decides how descriptive, how much time to spend with whatever's making me uncomfortable.
Hmm.
In comics, it's a mixture of words and pictures. And because you've got the words and pictures, you don't always have to read every word, and you certainly don't have to linger on every picture.
Right.
I get to decide, okay, I get it, ripped his head off.
That's funny you say that because like when I write horror in comics, part of that is what I try to take back is to force you
Yeah.
to kind of to
Well,
make you
and
linger.
that's the relationship between the writer and the reader. I'm all for you trying to force me, but I still have final say.
Sure, absolutely. Which I think is
That
great about comics,
it
you know?
is. It's wonderful about comics, but it's also why um I mean, I tend towards independent books more because, either working in a comic shop or with a podcast, I know that more times than not, you guys are making more of the money per sale on an independent book than a Marvel book or whatever. With Marvel or Plants vs. Zombies, you already got paid.
Hmm.
You're not necessarily, I mean, you might get another gig because more people buy it,
Right.
but it's the independent sales that need to go up. So being that I have a limited number of hours and being that even the best Spider-Man story, I'm probably not going to like a lot better than one of the better I've never met these character stories.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way.
um,
I love the mainstream and that, but I want to explore a new
I
world
want to know
sometime.
what's next.
Yeah.
I want to know what's next.
Yeah.
And that's been the beautiful thing about comics over the past decade or so is there's a lot out there.
It's
You know,
amazing.
you've got your vaults and you've got your Ahoys and you've got your IDWs doing great stuff, and Dark
Hmm.
Horse
Yeah.
has had a resurgence, and
I'm
Image
doing a bunch of
finally
stuff in
figured
Mad
their
Cave
stuff
these
out.
days.
Right, Mad Cave.
Yeah.
Um, and some of them actually seem to care about the comics. I mean, the ones that have had the most issues, we've discovered that they were trying to make IP factories and spending way too much money on trying to make them into movies. It's like they'll become movies organically or they won't. You shouldn't be
Right.
spending money on making them movies.
Right. Let's advertise the comic and things like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting to work for a new publisher and see, like you say, where they're at.
Right.
I have a book upcoming with Mad Cave that they greenlit it, and I'm like, oh, you're serious? You
Mad
think we can
Cave's been
market this?
doing some really interesting stuff lately.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a lot of cool things coming out from them. I'm really happy with them.
yeah, they'd been flying under my radar for a long time because it seemed like, I mean, I hate to like do hierarchies, but it felt like Ahoy and Vault and Boom, as they were surging, almost everything they did I liked.
Hmm.
And Scout and Mad Cave, and I can't remember the other one right now. Um, if I knew the creators, it was guaranteed that I was going to like it. And if I didn't know the creators, it was a crapshoot.
Hmm.
The concept was going to be great. The execution, who knew?
Yeah, crap shoots are fun sometimes, though.
They are, but that's where you go back to teacher's budget and
Oh yeah,
and platinum age of comics.
yeah, yeah. And there's so much good stuff online. I'm gonna have
Well,
the
actually, that one of the things that I think, I wonder if they're actually making enough money off of it this way, and that's why they're green lighting more. Mad Cave is one of the ones that's on Global Comics, um, where they're included in your subscription on release day.
mm,
So if you've got your $8 a month Global Comics subscription, you can
you're
read a
in.
Mad Cave book the day it comes out.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You know, and I've heard though, I'm still waiting to talk to somebody who's seen itemized checks to figure out if it, but like when Global Comics was pitching their whole thing, they're saying, "Oh, we're going to keep track of page turns." So
Mm.
for our subscription people, your $8 a month and whatever amount goes to site upkeep and our profits, but the rest of it is getting divvied up based on the actual pages that you
Oh,
looked at.
interesting. I didn't know that.
So that's what they said at the beginning. I haven't managed to talk to people about
Yeah, yeah.
exactly, because that
Plans
seems
change.
like a complicated thing to do, but at the same time, every time I asked people like, how do you decide to put your book on Comixology Unlimited versus just having it available on Comixology? How do you get paid then? Nobody ever had an answer to that question.
Mm,
So the fact that there's even thought about it makes
mhm.
me happy.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Online, I think is going to be even bigger. Like I've done stuff for Webtoon, and I love them,
yeah.
and the amount of you can actually make good money there and reach an audience that's just astounding. Just
Well, and
amazing.
I'm also impressed. I'm impressed with how many creators are managing to do well with Patreons and Kickstarters.
Hmm.
Managing to discover that, oh, if I tell my audience that, hey, I've got rent, they'll go, I want you to keep
Yeah,
working. Here, have $5 a month.
yeah. I've been I keep thinking about Patreon, but
Right.
I mean, essentially, it's more work, and I'm kind of full up. But
See,
Kickstarter,
I mean, this is where I sometimes tell, and I've told lots of artists this, it doesn't have to be more work. Just be honest up front. Look, I'm gonna occasionally pop in a preview here. Every once in a while, when I feel like it, that's what you get for your money is you are supporting me and occasionally getting a behind the scenes thing.
what you're saying is absolutely true, but that's not the way my
I
mind works.
I know.
The
I
second
know.
that I committed, I would be there. So,
I know. I know. There's so many comic creators. I mean, the number of comic creators I've talked to that like shut down payments on their Substack or their Patreon for a period of time because they just had so much going on. And I'm like, yeah, but didn't you also need the money that much more during that period of time because you had so much going on? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, then why won't you let me give it to you?
it's a money sanity thing. Sometimes you just need to shut down. Like that really, we talked, I think it was maybe before we started recording
Yeah,
about the fact that I don't have kids.
right.
Uh, I don't have a day job, so I essentially have 24 hours a day to spend on writing if I feel like it. But honestly, while time isn't an issue for me, sanity is.
Oh, absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
only have so much sanity per day. And if I start doing like Patreons and things like that, it's another click.
I I'm just saying there are four people who I pay on Patreon that like post something once a year or less. And I've never once thought of stopping paying them,
Hmm. I could
you
handle
know.
that.
Yeah, like I said, just be honest up front. Say this is what you're getting for you are supporting me, not
Hmm.
necessarily getting a ton of extra content.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll do it someday.
You don't have to. I'm just
All right.
I say that as much because I know that we've got a limited listener base, but they tend to be creators and comic shop owners. So I'm not just saying it to you.
Oh yeah. You're preaching it out there.
Right. I mean, I live with an artist. I have an artistic background. I know how much we tend towards we don't want to take your money for free. We want to earn it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how did we let American style capitalism into our brain so much? Da Vinci had patrons.
Oh, I
Every great artist throughout history
I do want to take people's money. I'll say that right off.
has taken money for nothing and then
Yeah,
sometimes put something forward.
I feel like I've done enough good work to be paid a little,
Exactly.
so
Give them do you have a web store? Give them a discount code. Your dollar a month gets you a discount code at my web store.
ooh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, see, another factor though is I am super bad at computers and things like
No,
that.
that's fair. That's fair.
And so in order to do it, I would have to ask my wife to do it, and
Yeah,
she's
see this
busy.
this is where it's a shame that you don't have kids because that'd be the perfect thing to
Yeah,
have. The high school kid. Hey, hey,
yeah, yeah,
run my Patreon. I'll double your allowance.
yeah. Set that up and sneer at me because it's so easy to do that I can't figure it out.
Right. Right. Oh. Um, God, we got distracted again.
That's fine.
This is
That's what
this is
conversation.
how this podcast runs.
It's the
Um,
way conversations should run.
I agree. And I like this podcast to be conversations with comic creators, not,
Mm.
I mean, yes, I want to plug stuff when people have stuff to plug and I like to explore stuff, but um conversations are what's fun. Um we talked a little off air and you just brought up that you don't have kids. So I'm gonna go here. You One of the reasons I've always really been attracted to your writing is I mean, the first thing I read was Bandette, but
Mhm.
then I forget what I read next, but it was like very far from Bandette.
I'm all over. Yeah, there's
You wrote Bunny Mask, which I haven't gotten to. So I mean, you're one of the most versatile writers that I've seen in comics. You write you write kids stuff, you write YA stuff, you write true all ages stuff. I mean, I don't think of Bandette or um Rassle Castle as kids stuff. Those are both like true all ages in like
Thank
the
you.
bone vein of true all ages.
Mhm.
Um you write licensed stuff, you write creator owned stuff, you write big two stuff. I mean, there just aren't that many people who, particularly over the breadth of their career. I mean, sometimes you'll see a lot of it in the very early days, but as soon as they've established themselves,
They
they
find their
find
niche.
their niche,
Yeah.
right? So talk to me about being all over and how you approach different stories.
I don't really approach them differently. I just need to, we spoke a little bit about finding the love, and that's what I just need to do in every one of them. And honestly, part of the reason I kind of skip around in genres is, well, interest, because I have interest in all genres and all ages. But also, I mean, we talk about people that finding a niche, and like if someone does horror, like when I'm working on horror, I can work on horror like 3, 4 hours a day, and then I'm like, I'm kind of burnt out.
Right.
So if I only write horror, then I'm done for the day. But if I can move over and write some kids stuff or some
Okay.
all ages stuff or some superhero stuff, it extends my day. And
Okay.
honestly, that's the way I've always been. It's like I love writing, and I tend to do a thing of like, all right, I'm done writing for the day and now I want to relax. What should I do? Oh, I should do some writing, you know, because it relaxes me.
Right. Right.
Um, so
You actually,
sometimes the morning it can flip. Sometimes the morning will be comics, and then the afternoon will be novels, and sometimes it's novels and then comics. Novels is more of my work these days
I
than,
haven't read any of them yet.
than
I just
comics.
noticed that you have them. So
Yeah,
they're on my
I've
list
got
now.
4 or 5 out, and then I just recently signed a deal for a 4 novel series, and
Oh,
that's
nice.
that's where I spend a lot of my time.
Right.
It's middle
Um,
grade stuff.
yeah. Well, which I mean, I'm a high school teacher, but I'm a high school special ed teacher, so I mean, it immediately jumped on my radar. Ooh, I need to go read this stuff. If it's any good, I will be pitching it to various kids that are working on
Nice.
honing their reading skills. Um,
The Plants
and
vs.
have
Zombies
and
is
have
very good.
another angle to pitch it. It's like, oh, you like Plants versus Zombies? Here's a novel.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the time I'm the guy trying to convince them, no, you can read a comic. You don't, that's not less.
I know. Yeah, I told you again. I forget if this was before we started recording
Eh,
or not, but I used to work at Powell's Books
Pals. Yeah.
downtown here, and I was in charge of the sciences section.
Okay.
But back when I was there, this is like 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. Back when I was there, the kids' room and the science room were together.
Okay.
So I was often running the information desk in the kids' room. And there would be so many, it was so frustrating what you were just talking about. So many parents would come in and say, so I want to get my kid reading. Um, they're just not reading, and I think reading is important. So give me some recommendations. And I would say, well, how about this graphic novel? This is a good start, or this graphic novel. And so many times it would be like, oh, they're
No, we
reading
want real
graphic
books.
novels, but I
Yeah.
want them to read books. And it's like, what, you don't want them to read things that they enjoy.
Though here is something that this is one of the greatest things I ever heard. My wife teaches art. At the beginning of each class, she'll have like a question of the day, just to, you know, icebreaker, get to know each other, that sort of thing. And she was telling me last year, she'd asked her classes, you know, what's your favorite comic? And like almost everybody had claimed not to read comics, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, she asked them what their favorite book was. And like 80% of her classes, boys and girls, it was a Raina Telgemeier book of some sort. And she'd be sitting there going, that's a comic. Oh, I just thought it was a book.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that aspect too. Yeah. The blur is kind of interesting.
I mean, where it annoys me is the number of people who still think comics are like only superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that's something I preach a
a
lot.
uniquely American problem,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it
so
drives
many
me up the
people think
wall.
that comics is a genre rather than
I,
a medium.
I,
And
I
like,
yeah, I tell people that I have a comics podcast, and they ask me what I think of the new superhero movie, and I'm like, I haven't seen it,
yeah.
for that matter.
Hmm.
And finally reading a volume of it, I realized that you were adapting from a video game, but I didn't realize that you'd done The Witcher
Hmm.
until Thursday. Um, and I literally turned to one of my coworkers who's not a comics person. I'm like, you know The Witcher? She's like, yeah, the Netflix series. I'm like, yeah, no, the guy I'm talking to Sunday did The Witcher, and I didn't know that about him until right now. It may be his most famous comic book because it's a Netflix series, and I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, I mean, it was the game was first. Well,
Well,
and
I discovered that when I read it, but I didn't
yeah,
know that either. I knew that the
yeah.
Netflix, I mean, even when the Netflix series came out, it was all adapted from the comic book.
Hmm. Yeah, it was kind of, it's interesting. A lot of kids think that I invented Plants vs. Zombies and
Yeah.
things like that. And I
And
have another,
I only knew that that wasn't true because the only Plants vs Zombies started as like a shareware game, and I remember a friend
hmm,
of mine had a copy, and we were messing around with it when I was in like high school. So like 10 years before anybody else knew about it,
right.
I played Plants vs Zombies.
Yeah, I
So
can
so
remember.
when it blew up, I'm like, oh, I remember that game. That was pretty cool. I'm
Uh,
glad that.
I saw it for the first time when me and Steve Lieber were flying to Vegas for a job, and he was showing me, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then like a
Right.
few months later, they offered me the book, and it was like it was kind of
Now,
cool.
I'm going to ask it. I don't normally ask the deep question about the book that I haven't read, but I A, keep meaning to read it, and B, as somebody who's played Plants vs. Zombies, one of the reasons I never jumped into the comic is I couldn't wrap my head around what the stories would be about.
Ah,
You've got a garden where zombies walk, and you try to put plants in their way.
that was an interesting aspect of it because when I started writing, I mean, literally the first game was the only thing out, and like you say,
Right.
there's not a whole lot of story there. So yeah,
No.
I had to create the city, the world, the characters, and things like that, and just
Okay.
just have fun.
So it
And
is a bigger world than this than the garden.
yes,
I assumed that it would be, but
uh,
did they come to you? Did you pitch it? I mean,
they came to me. They
okay.
they literally like they came to me during a time period when forget what I was working on at the time, but that original Plants vs. Zombies game is really good for me to have on my computer because it's a game that you can kind of take a break from writing,
Yeah,
but it's also a game that if you play it for 5 minutes, that's all you need to play. It's not a game
exactly.
like
Exactly.
there are other games where you're like, I'm gonna take a
It's
little break and
very
play
hard
this.
to get like addictively into Plants vs.
Right.
Zombies.
So I literally was, in fact, I think I was sitting right here and I was on a little break playing a little Plants vs. Zombies, and Philip Simone, the editor at Dark Horse, called me up and he's like, "Hey, Paul, I just want to know, do you know about the game Plants vs. Zombies?" And I'm like, I literally paused the game so that you could, so that I could take this call. And then we just went from there.
Okay. I'm always fascinated with that. And it's not that I don't know that it could work. I mean, Moneyball shouldn't be a good movie.
Mm,
You shouldn't have been able to make a great comic out of Slaughterhouse-Five, but they did.
mhm.
Um, it's not that I don't know, like intellectually, that it can work, but that's always been one of the ones where I'm sitting there going, who even thought that this was? And clearly, it was a good idea because there are multiple volumes and they sell well. But who
I'm,
had that moment where they went, you know, Plants
yeah,
versus Zombies would be a great comic book.
I cannot believe how much of that I've written. And when, like we were just talking about that first phone call, if I'd have known what I was getting into, because I'm working on, I believe, if you include the subsidiary like Garden Warfare novels, graphic novels, I think I'm working on the 30th edition.
Oh my God. I knew you'd written a lot of it. I had no idea you'd
Yeah,
written that much of it.
I'm well over 2,000
And
pages
you're
of,
still interested. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's,
you didn't say let's talk about something else.
well, it's fun. It's
So-
like when you were talking there, I was like thinking about like where some of my joy for that comes from. And it's like probably Monty Python was big, but I
okay.
realized just as you were talking that I think I'm channeling a lot of Mort Drucker from the old Mad
Okay.
magazine and things like that.
Okay.
Um, that kind of humor and just kind of fun.
By the way, I did like it when Gaines popped up in Bandette. I like your little comic references all over the place to begin with, but
Well, the very first Bandette character was actually B.D. Belgique, the uh, the officer, and Colleen had just been screwing around and drawing, and and then Chris Roberson came to us from Monkey Brain, and he's like, "Hey, I need a project, do something." And Colleen, I asked Colleen what she would want to do, and she's like, "I don't know what I want to do, but I want to use this guy." And so we needed to give him a name, and she had actually based him on like the big nose stuff from European comics.
okay.
So that's what his name is BD is Bond Destiné,
Yeah,
and Belgique is the Belgium School of Comics. So he's basically named after comics, and then
I
Bandette
love it.
later after that.
I love it. Just I'm oh wow, I, oh, I read Mystery Girl yesterday too. I
Mm.
I don't know how that flew under my radar when it came out, but I'm glad that I was like going and digging through everything that I think I bought a Kindle copy of it one day because it was on sale,
Mhm.
probably because I'm enough of a comics geek that I pay attention to my Comixology sales. And it's like, oh, $3.99. I have no idea what it is, but it's Paul Tobin. Click.
Click. Yeah, I love
You
that
know,
project. That was with Alberto
that
Albuquerque.
was with Albuquerque too.
He's
Yeah.
one of my pals. Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, Calculated Man is probably my favorite of your comics,
Oh, thank you.
in in part because I'm not the extreme that he is. I don't see my numbers and colors, and I certainly don't have that level of memory. Memory is not my strong suit, but I
Hmm.
am always thinking about probabilities, always thinking about the math. I mean, I don't even like to call it the math because the way I think about it is way beyond math, which is one of the reasons I'm also good at teaching math because I'm like, yeah, no, you're not learning 2 + 2 is 4. You're learning how to figure out
The concepts
the
behind,
concepts.
yeah,
It's
and how
problem solving
the
that we're doing.
connection. Yeah. Yeah. I
We're
totally know what
practicing
you
problem solving, and the more problem solving you do, the more you can then apply it to other things.
mean. Yeah.
um, so I mean, this was a book that I was excited about from the get go, and I know a lot of people were. I mean, I think almost everybody who read it wound up liking it, but I remember when it was coming out, there are a couple other podcasts that I sometimes listen to that because I like their take and whatnot. And one of them was reading The Calculated Man, or planning to read The Calculated Man, and just convinced that there was no way they were going to like a math comic.
Yeah. It's not a math comic.
um, whereas I was like, ooh, this is going to be good, and it is. It's brilliant. The twist at the end. It's been long enough that we can talk about it. The twist at the end made it even better. The idea that he plotted this out at 7, but also like completely fit in with the version of the character I had. I mean, I love a John Wick not because of the fact that he's a badass and kills everybody. Everybody's like, oh, he knows all these martial arts. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is he knows how to use them all in
Mhm.
that split second.
Right.
Everybody. almost everybody hated the fight scene in Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, and I went,
So
well, it literally like would slow down and have him calculating if I do this, him working out what to do and what was going to happen. And I'm like, that is the most Sherlock Holmes fight scene
yeah,
I have
that
ever
actually
seen.
sounds perfect to me.
Right. I'm like, that's dead on.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was fun to see that I'm not the only one who's that geeky in the way they think about things. So for that alone, I thank you. I felt seen.
Welcome. Yeah, I grew up loving math, but it kind of fell away from me in college. Just I don't know why.
I think I like doing math when I have a problem to solve.
Hmm.
And I like math if I have the right math teacher who understands that it's a language and about problem solving. But I
Yeah,
know why everybody hates math because it's taught so
I
ridiculously
I think that's
badly and boringly.
yeah, I think that's what took me out is like you say, it when I got to college, the math classes I took for just a little bit, they were very much about like, well, let's see what you can like memorize rather than
My
like, teaching
least
it as a
favorite
language.
phrase about teaching is those who can't do teach. I think it's utter bullshit in
Yeah, me too.
99.95% of the circumstances. The .05 where I think it might be right is college math teachers.
You got a very specific arrow there.
No, I still remember it was an applied mathematics class even. We were doing mathematical modeling.
Hmm.
And I cracked the model. I had the model down. I knew that given the parameters we had, this was always going to be the answer. I didn't know how to express it mathematically. So I went
Hmm.
to the professor's office and he spent 3 hours trying to break my logic rather than teaching me how. And mind you, he should have had the goddamn answer key. He spent 3 hours trying to break my logic rather than teaching me how to express it mathematically.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, well, that's 3 hours of my life I'm not going to
Yeah.
get back.
Yeah, more than 3 hours because it's like
You
this.
hate me. You now hate me.
Uh-huh.
And I have to go find somebody else to teach me how to write this in a way that you're going to accept and give a good grade to.
Hmm. Yeah.
How are you a college math professor? And of course he's got math articles published and whatnot, but they're all, and I've heard some arguments for pure math being a thing. I haven't heard one that I truly think is good. Um, Everybody likes to bring up string theory, but I don't actually think that that was pure math. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people who wound up working on it were doing it as pure math, but they weren't the ones that wound up going anywhere with it. And I don't think the people who started were doing it as pure math. Math is a
I don't
way of
like string
expressing
theory
things.
anyway.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, Math is a language for expressing science.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like the key thing that you're saying is what I totally agree with is it's a language.
Yeah.
It's not just a pile of numbers. You got to look at it as a language and how it works.
Have you ever read Neil Stevenson, his Baroque cycle?
Very little. And
Okay.
what I
I
did
mean,
was
they're big, huge books. So I,
yeah.
but one of the concepts that I loved in that is, you got Newton and Leibniz, both trying to invent calculus, but the entire reason they're inventing it is, well, we've got geometry, except that here's this thing that's geometrically true no, it's not. That
Hmm.
means we need new language
New language. Yeah.
because you can't change the rules. Geometrically, it's true.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So we clearly need a new language.
I think and it's happened several times in math
Yeah,
of like,
almost every new so-called field of math is really
mhm.
just, oh, we need new words.
Yeah, we need we need a new
We need new
dialect.
words. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just like at some point we needed to come up with a word for computer.
Hmm.
and we really just, I mean, how much of our existence would be better if we were more comfortable with making new words?
Hmm. Yeah. New languages. It's
How
fantastic. Yeah.
how
Math is fascinating.
how many like fights, arguments, political disagreements or whatnot have come out of just not having the right words to describe what we're going through.
Right. Totally agree.
It's just I wish I was a linguist but I have like no aptitude for other languages, and that makes me sad because I
It
bet
makes
you.
me, yeah, it makes me very sad because like whenever I've toured like Europe and things like that, I see all these things I can't read and
Right. Well, and every once in a while I'll hear like I mean, I remember when I learned Schadenfreude, and I'm like, that's a great thing to have a word for. It's not necessarily a great thing to do, but it's a
right,
great thing to have a word for.
right.
Why don't we have a word for that?
Yeah, Germany has a lot of great words.
Every language has a certain amount of great words, and I mean, that is the one advantage of English is we're probably the language that has bastardized the most other
Yeah,
languages.
we'll steal everything, so that's
Right.
okay.
I mean, Schadenfreude is essentially an English word now too.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah.
um, but yeah, so talk to me just because I'm curious as to how you, because calculated man is, it's like if the accountant in uh the Untouchables decided to become John Wick.
Yeah,
Where do you,
it's interesting. I knew you were going to ask like where all this came from, and I don't remember.
that's fair.
Stories just kind of pop into my head, and I knew I wanted I knew I wanted a guy that had it figured out,
Okay.
and to me, math is the background for that. Got a moth flying around. Um, so yeah, I just math fascinates me, and probability, and I mean, because that's in essentially what humans and all creatures are is
Yeah.
probability. Probability, we like to think it's like, well, I was going to say we all, but maybe this is all in my head. When I walk
I,
outside,
I
I'm like,
I've
I'll take this
discovered that
corner.
not
This,
as many people like to think as I'd like to think.
yeah. But when I plot my day out, I'm like, well, this will probably happen. This will probably happen. If I go to this cafe, I need to get to this cafe
Right.
to write, but I need to get there early enough to get this done. But at the
Right.
same time, I need to get there late enough that the early crowd will be gone.
Exactly.
Blah 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 blah. So it's like it's all this probability
I spend
expectation.
way more time thinking about traffic patterns than most people do.
Yeah.
Um, for that matter, one of the most disturbing moments I've ever had, I was in a training and they were talking about trying to make something automatic, and they used an example of something we do automatically without thinking was driving. And I'm like, I don't drive automatically. I'm like, yes, you do. You don't think about it. I'm like, yes, I do. I think, check the mirror, check the I have a subroutine
Yeah.
running when I'm driving. And
But
they're
you
like,
are,
what? And it turned out I was the only one at the table. I'm like, oh my God, that's
uh-huh.
why I hate all other drivers.
Yeah. Colleen and I walk almost everywhere, and it's like, it's nuts. Like if there's going to be a car turning right and it's a one way from the left, they will not look for a pedestrian
Oh,
because, and so it's like you have to, it's just nuts. There's like, whenever I drive, I'm calculating. It's like,
yeah.
that person on the bike doesn't seem to be paying attention, and this car is coming this way, and if he swerves, has to
This
swerve
car is
suddenly.
about to make a turn. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time I was driving with my aunt, and she was actually driving, but I we were in my town. It was when I was living in Iowa City, and I
In
said,
Iowa
"Watch."
City.
Yeah, I lived in Iowa City for a while.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, it's a nice town.
Yeah,
Um,
Pioneer Square, let's go. Woo.
yeah, I love the Prairie Lights bookstore. I can
Yeah,
spend all
Colleen
day at
actually
Red
worked
Lights.
there for a little while in the cafe that's upstairs.
Oh wow. When?
Geez, early 90s.
Okay. So a little bit before I got there. I was
Mm,
there in the late 90s.
mm.
I was there
Yeah.
like 98, 99.
If you went to the comic store, I was the guy running the comic store.
It was a period where I was too broke for comics
I
and
hear that.
and was still moonlighting at the comic shop back home because I still had a girlfriend there. So I go home like every 2 weeks.
Where was
I'd
home?
Wheaton, Illinois, outside of
Okay.
Chicago. So I'd make the 3 hour drive home. I'd pick up a weekend shift at the comic shop.
It's a, it's a long drive for a job.
Well, it wasn't for the job, it was for the girl.
Okay. It's a short drive for a girl. Girls are worth it.
Exactly. um uh where was I going? Oh, so we're driving. And I said, "Watch out, this car's about to cut you off." And she's like, "What do you mean? It's got its left turn signal on. We're on its right." I'm like, "It's about to cut you off." And immediately.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm
And I swear, like Iowa City, and particularly because when I was in Iowa City, I was actually running the music department at the Best Buy in Cedar Rapids.
hmm.
So I made that drive every day. Um, that stretch of road, I don't remember which highway it is right now, but that interstate there, I swear to God, every freaking driver thought they were a NASCAR driver. They were determined not to let you pass them
Hmm.
and determined to like not let you know what they were going to be doing.
It's all a secret.
I mean, it literally, I got to the point where I assumed if they were in the middle lane and they signaled left, they were going right.
Hmm.
If they signaled right, they were going left.
My wife doesn't drive, never has. And
Right.
so, like, one of the constant things that I have to talk to her about is how easy it is to
Yeah,
signal. Like, it's
it
just this
really
click.
is.
It's
It
just this
really is.
click. Not
I mean, the first thing I
like this
taught
12-stage progress.
first thing I taught my kids, and for that matter, now that I'm teaching high school, you'll get the kids that are starting drivers that, hey, give me a piece of wisdom, blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
Don't add to the chaos. Don't
mm,
add to the chaos.
yeah.
Whatever you're doing, try to make it abundantly obvious to everybody around you that you are doing it.
Hmm. Yeah. It's really simple to do.
And then the second thing is you don't get ahead by changing lanes. Pick the lane that makes sense to you and stay in it and watch how many times you pass the same car that's been weaving in and out. I've
Just
reached a
waving
point
at that car.
I have reached a point that when I pull up next to them at red lights, I'll wave to them. It's like, hey, remember you cut me off like a mile ago, and 2 miles before that, and 3 miles before that.
Right. That's kind of fun. I
I've
often
I've just been in the same lane.
traffic is so bad in this section of Portland that I live that I'm often like passing the same car 3 or 4 times and
Right,
I'm on foot.
right,
I'm
right.
just walking down the sidewalk going, hey buddy, you
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Oh, so
Uh,
okay. Um, wow. Let's talk Rassle Castle because I
okay.
actually got my wife to read that. Because she likes. It took her a while to get. My wife has a impressive taste. I couldn't get her into comics for years. And then I brought Hillary Campbell's murder book home from the library. And
Mm.
she looked down and went, Memoir of a true crime junkie? That looks great. And she devoured it and then found every true crime comic she could find.
Oh, nice.
Also discovering that I'd given her many of them through the years. She'd go, hey, do we have any Rick Gary? And I'm like, there's 4 of them on your shelves.
Right there.
They're not even mine. They're yours.
Right. I'd forgotten all about those. Those were good books.
They are. We had Rick Gary on for my wife.
Oh, nice.
She set it all up. He's got a book coming out this week.
Oh, sweet.
Blanche goes to San Francisco. That actually looks like it's fiction,
Hmm.
but I'm looking forward to that. He's a really nice guy. Uh, but then she's a middle school teacher, or was a middle school teacher, now an elementary school teacher. She's a kid at heart. She loves her cartoons. So as soon as she ran out of true crime, it became YA stuff.
Hmm.
So and every scene with a pun, and more importantly with her friends very appropriately ridiculing her for the use of puns, and not even talking about whether or not they were good or bad
Right.
puns, because every right thinking person knows that there's no such thing as a
Such
good
thing.
pun,
Hmm.
which is an argument that happens in this house on a regular basis. I'm like, Kelly, you got to read these books. So she dug them. She liked the message of creativity,
Mm,
that doing the same, just honing the skill and doing it just the same way led to stagnation, and cool things came out of
absolutely.
um
Chaos to a certain degree. Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, it's actually, I'd forgotten until I was looking at the back of it that you let off the vault young adult line, didn't you? Or at
Yeah, I
least
believe
one of the
so. I mean, it
earliest
was like a
books.
group of people doing it at the same
Right,
time. And I think maybe we were first, but it was like, next
right.
week, next week, next week.
Right. And it's like it is like a perfect story for Vault, who in general are horror and fantasy and a little bit of sci-fi.
Hmm.
Um to do the kids book that's like this fantasy world, but I love the world building where you're like, we're gonna make it, it's wrestling except that it's not. It's wrestling, but also the wrestling sometimes has magic, so it's almost Jedi skills, except that
Right.
it's not based on, can you manipulate things? It's how well do you execute the move.
Hmm.
Um, but then, you got the kid that doesn't want to kill her pig, and the boy that wants to be the actor rather than I love how that came together. Um, what were you I mean, were the things I just said what you were going for? Was it a happy accident? I mean, what was
I
kind of the
think almost,
genesis?
I think most writing is a happy accident that you're
Well,
trying to
yeah.
focus. The name came first. I
Okay.
was I was in the shower one time and I babble in the shower. I'm just like
Okay.
babbling. And
I babble everywhere, so I get that.
but the shower is a good place for me to think of stories, and things like that. And I was just babbling and I said Rassle Castle. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. And then so we needed to build it from there. And my wife and I wrote it together,
Right.
with her throwing ideas out. And when you were talking there, I was thinking of like earlier you mentioned that one podcaster that was like, I'm not sure I would like Calculated Man. I don't want a math book.
Right.
And that's something we tried to avoid with Wrestle Castle. It's like this isn't, you don't need to be a wrestling fan
I
or
will admit
for
that it
that.
took me a little bit longer. I mean, wrestling's another one of those things where between the fact that so many of my comics friends are wrestling people, I've started to try to get into wrestling. Still
Mhm.
haven't managed it in like the
Yeah.
real world, but I've gotten very much into wrestling comics.
Uh-huh. They're
They
fun.
work in comics,
Yeah.
but it was one of the reasons it took me until I had you booked to go, okay, I've owned them all for a while. I need to actually read them.
Yeah. So yeah, we try to make it like different than wrestling and character. I mean, if you've read my books, you know
Yeah,
that character is always key for me. I
right.
just want to develop people and learn and then there's always a certain point when I'm writing where, I think I've almost let the leash go and the characters start to live themselves and it's like
Okay.
they start to make their decisions and be individuals. That's one thing I always want want my characters to be is individuals. So I give them individual characteristics, and then after a while, they start to just build their own. And it's like it's something that Jeff Parker and I talk a lot about that moment when you're writing a story and you're like, okay, character, you're going to do this, and the character almost literally looks at you and says, "I'm not though.
No.
That's not what
That's
I'm
not
going to
who I
do."
am.
Yeah, and it's like it's a great moment. It's like, oh, the rebellion has begun, and it's like it's fun, and the characters in Wrestle Castle were a lot like that, and the story to a certain degree as well. And it was fun to, shoot ideas back and forth with my wife, and
Right.
we've
I mean, you
developed
you
that
did
over the
Bandette
years.
together as well. Is there anything else that you've done together?
Um, Probably a few small things here and
Yeah.
there. Bandette, we did
Or I
um,
feel like was it
Gingerbread Girl,
Gingerbread Girl,
Banana
and
Sundae.
Bananas? Yeah.
Um, but those are all like Colleen and I co-wrote Wrestle Castle, and then brought a different artist
Yeah, I
in.
was gonna say, how'd you get hooked up with Galad? Because he did another one of my favorite true all ages books. He was on Scales and Scoundrels.
He
So
I saw his artwork for Scales and Scoundrels, and I liked it so much, like so much.
it is. It's amazing.
um and when we started Wrestle Castle, we went through tons of possible artists, just like blah 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 blah, and a couple of them said yes, and then just didn't work out, and blah blah blah. And it was actually a really long process. It took us like 2 or 3 months,
Oh wow.
and finally, Adrian the Wassel, he's like, Paul, this is getting too long. We need to really work. So just bear down what you're looking for in an artist. And I said, I don't know, just somebody like Galad. And he's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And he called me the next day and he said, you wanted someone like Galad. How about Galad? And I'm like, yeah, that matches pretty well. So we brought him in, and it
It's
was
nice when
fun.
it works out that way.
Yeah.
Nice when it works out that way.
But yeah, the Colleen and I co-wrote Wrestle Castle, but everything else that we do, I write.
And she
Um,
does the art.
she does the art. Yeah, she doesn't even get to talk about the stories until the full script is in her hands. So
Okay.
I don't work any different with her than I work with you know, Alberto, who lives in Spain,
Right.
or Arjuna, one of my favorite collaborators who lives in Italy. So
That's something that's always fascinated me about comics is how many people wind up having regular collaborators that aren't just like in different time zones, but in like different countries. How do you, I mean, is the initial pairing through some licensed property or a Marvel DC thing, and that's how you get to know each other? Do you meet at cons?
with
How does that
Arjuna,
work?
who's a partner I like to work with a lot, uh, he, I pitched, I don't remember what company it was, but I pitched an idea. It got greenlit. Arjuna did several pages. I loved them. And then the series fell apart. But I had him in my head for, I want to work with this guy. So I forget what the first project I worked with him on. I mean, I did Heist with him at Vault. We were working on a series that I still
I love
really
the
love that got,
subtitle to that book. I love subtitles to begin with, but that one worked really well.
thank you.
How to Steal a
Um,
Planet. That's just like I my favorite subtitles are the ones where it's like, okay, like heist, that's a big deal, but how to steal a planet?
yeah. Yeah, I wanted it to be a little more
It's like
gravitas.
here's the parenthetical. We're gonna up it 10 degrees.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why we did it. But yeah, I worked on several things with him. With Alberto, that's a Steve Lieber connection because Steve went to a convention in, God, I can't remember, somewhere in Europe, and he met Alberto. And then Alberto wanted to visit Portland, and then he came here, and I hung out with him, and then we
Yeah.
decided we would like to work together. So, but it's weird sometimes to like Arjuna. I've worked with Arjuna in one capacity or another for like 5, 6, I don't know how many years. And we just had a Zoom call last week. And that was the first time I've even seen his face. That was the first time I knew what he looked like, you know? So
Yeah.
it was weird to meet a person that
I'm
I've
trying to remember.
known for
I'm
a
trying to
decade.
remember who it was. We actually had a writer and artist meet each other on our podcast once, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't,
not
and I
uncommon.
don't think it was. I don't think it was their first book together either. It was
Hmm.
the first time they were seeing each other's faces.
Yeah, yeah, it
They
can be
got every.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many people I work with that, well, that Zoom call where I met Arjuna, I met editors that I've worked with for a long time
For a long
too,
time
that
too.
I didn't
Yeah.
know who they were.
No, I mean definitely. Uh, I think the invention of the fax machine started to spread comics out a lot,
Hmm.
but the invention of like high speed internet completely changed the ball game.
Yep.
And I think I really think one of the reasons we're getting so many great comics now is Zoom.
Hmm.
Is Zoom. It's they were already managing to network via cons, via social network or whatnot. Now they can actually talk to each other and trade stuff in real time.
It's fun.
You know,
Although when
um,
I create stuff, I like to be in my little corner, just,
no, and that's always funny to because there's so many different ways of creating. And
hmm.
we'll hear about the people that's like, no, I can't, you can't, it's got to be through like 4 drafts before you can even look at it.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
then we were talking to do you know the book The Hunting Accident?
Mhm.
Um, Landers Blair. I can't remember the or Landis Blair. And I can't remember the writer except that it was his first comic. He was more of a screenwriter. Um, but it was also the first book being done by their publisher.
Hmm.
So it's like David Carlson was the writer on it. So that he told the story. It's like they had this whole studio set up where they were doing like big mock-ups of things that they wanted to do, and they were talking about it while they were working it out. And when the publisher found out that he was still working his day job, they're like, no, we want you to be able to just work on this, and they upped his.
Jeez.
And he's like, I mean, thank God it worked out, and thank God I was a part of it, but it was really they'd never done this before.
Hmm. Yeah, I gotta sit in my little corner for my stories. I've done other stuff. I was like when we did like the big Aliens Predator crossover, it was like a writer's room with like Josh Williamson, Kelly Sue DeConnick, and some others, and it was like throwing ideas back and forth, and that can be fun, but I I like to develop nuances and work in different ways. So
Yeah.
like the
The
thought of being like in a Marvel DC bullpen,
bullpen, the
like,
old school bullpen, just
yeah, that doesn't.
I yeah. Yeah. I think the bullpen always worked better for the artists than it did for the writers.
Hmm. Yeah,
Even there, you've got a much wider. But I know a lot more artists that have studios, just like studios that they share with people, just so they're not
yeah, yeah. In
alone.
in in Portland here, we have Helioscope, which
Yep.
is run by Steve Lieber, and
Yep.
it's like I was there for several years, but it got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm still paying dues, but I
And I never
literally
write
haven't
here.
been there in 2 years.
Right.
Um, and it's just like I can write with noise around me.
Right.
Like I write a lot at cafes.
Okay.
But in a cafe, it's strangers talking about things I don't care about.
Right.
Or in the studio, it's friends talking about things I care about. So
Exactly.
it's like I can't, it's not white noise, it's actual
Um,
noise.
are you a music or no music guy while you're writing?
Um, music extremely rarely.
Okay.
I mean, obviously at cafes there's music,
Well,
but
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
No, it's just another one of those things that winds up, some people like have to have music.
yeah.
Some people never have
I
music. Some
if I'm on
people,
the final stages of a script, sometimes like if everything if all the ideas and the thoughts are in the script and it's just I'm formatting and things like that,
Okay.
then I like to have some music.
Okay.
But when I'm in the conception stages, I don't really like
Yeah,
music.
I had a guy describe once that is like conception, rough draft is no music. Classical or jazz until it's worked out. And then final pass, I literally make a soundtrack that goes
Mhm. Yeah, that
with.
I can understand every step of that.
Yeah.
And there
And
are times like if I'm writing to music that my writing will start to take on the cadence of that music, and that can be problematic. It's like I
well,
gotta.
that's, I mean, the most common answer when we ask about music with writers is only if it doesn't have words.
Mhm. Yeah, words can screw me up.
Right. Right. Which is, I mean, that's weird to me. I mean, I haven't published, but I've done a lot of writing in my life, and I always like having music
Mm.
on.
I can remember going over to Bendis's house once, and his writing table was faced a great big TV, and he would just play movies while he was writing. And it's like,
I know lots of artists that do that, but I've never heard of a writer doing that.
yeah, yeah,
That's
Brian used to do that, maybe still does, but
I know lots of artists that watch movies while they do.
mhm.
No,
Colleen
actually,
listens to podcasts and things like that.
yeah, that's pretty common too. Actually, when you were talking about why you like doing different genres at the same time, being able to do a few hours of horror in the morning, being able to do the kids stuff later, novel. I was thinking of Nate Powell. The reason he likes to do everything on his book is, or any book he does, and the reason why for the last 10 years he's always had one fiction and one nonfiction book going simultaneously,
Mhm.
is that he says he's got like max 2 hours that he can do anything. So it's like I'll pencil for 45 minutes and then I got to go ink something, and I'll ink
Mhm.
for 45 minutes and then I'll go write something, and I'll write for an hour and then I'll go letter something.
Yeah, it breaks up your day.
you
That's
know.
part of the reason I like to write in cafes too, is um, my routine on a daily basis is I wake up, I get to work immediately. And I work for like 3 or 4 hours, and then my mind is blasted.
Okay.
So I grab a shower, I go for a walk, I end up in a cafe, I'm in a different spot.
Right.
I write for another couple, 3 hours, and then I can come home and the scenery has changed again, and can write for a couple more hours. So
Gotcha.
you got to break up that routine.
So do you set goals in terms of what needs to be accomplished, or do you just go?
I have goals, yeah, especially with my novels, there are goals. Um,
Because I
I
know,
have
like,
the process that I've found works for me for novels is about 1,000 words a day, and that's my that's my minimum. But also, and this has turned out to be very important for me, 1,000 words a day is my maximum. I can't write more than
yeah.
1,000 words a day because
Now, are you Terry Pratchett about it? Because like Terry Pratchett was 2,000 words a day, and if he was in the middle of a sentence, he would stop there.
almost, yes.
For
And
that matter, famously, he like finished a book once at like 1,994 words and wrote the first 6 words of the next book.
I can understand that. But the reason I have to stop, the reason I have to have a maximum is because, and maybe Terry was the same, is that if I don't have a maximum, I'll write until I finish a section or a thought. And then when I come to the novel the next day, I have to start with a new concept, a
Right,
new section, a new. Whereas if I stop in the middle of something, I come in and I'm at that energy. I'm working
right.
from there. I already
I like
have that
that.
momentum built up.
I
So
like
it's
that.
it's very important for me.
I've spent
Also, from a
I've spent
mental aspect, like the math of it, um, all people make excuses. And if I say to myself, I need to do 1,000 words a day, and then I have a good day and I write 3,000 words and I wake up the next day and go, oh, I'm so exhausted. Well, I only have to write 1,000 words a day and I did 3,000 yesterday. So I
Right.
really don't need to write today.
No, see,
And you lose that momentum too.
I, as somebody who used to write all the time and essentially stopped writing when I was working 60 hours a week and had children.
That'll do it.
Um, and I didn't even like stop writing immediately. I stopped. I eventually stopped writing because I developed a fear of writing because I don't know how to stop.
Mm,
Like the I have a tendency to write is I'll have an idea and for the next 24 hours I'll be pounding out 10,000 words.
mhm.
But that's hard to juggle with kids and job and bills and whatnot. Um, so even as I've had more time, it's been, I've had to get over the fear. And that's the first time I've heard like the strong argument for having a maximum
Mhm.
and gone, okay, so I don't need to just get myself to write every day. I need to choose an appropriate amount of writing and I need to like this is as far as you go.
Hit that. Stop
It's
there.
as far
Yeah.
as you go.
Keep that
and
energy.
and and maybe at some point I can expand it, but I could start at 100 words. You're doing 100 words, no
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Yeah. There have been times when I've decided like on 1,500 words, but that gets a little, it, it, it takes me, it takes me almost three times the amount of time to do 1,500 words as it does to do 1,000 words.
I
I
can
don't
believe
know
that.
why. I don't know why the math works that way, but
Yeah.
that's the way the math works.
Well, you're probably almost guaranteed to have some major concept change
Hmm.
in that time. So you're going to have that a bigger. Well, you're more likely to have two major concepts. I imagine with 1,000 words, particularly if you're deliberately trying not to end where you have to start fresh tomorrow,
Hmm.
that there's only really one point a day where you have to stop and figure out, okay, where am I going?
Yeah.
Whereas
What's
if you,
going on?
and that's probably the biggest chunk of time.
Hmm.
And if you have to do that twice, as you're likely to have to do with 1,500 words,
Right.
that means you double your biggest chunk of time, which doesn't double your words, it
Yeah.
just doubles your. So that makes see that's my brain immediately gets that.
Hmm. You reminded
Um,
me too. I used to when I grew up, I was. You remember the old Reno Williams, the Destroyer novels?
I have heard of them, but I don't think I've read
They're
them.
they're cheesy, fun
Right.
novels. But for a while they were written by two guys, and they would literally do it as one guy writes the first half of the book and one guy writes the second half of the book,
Okay.
and one guy did at one point give over, it's your turn now, in the middle of a hyphenated word. It's just, there you go. It's your turn.
That's great. Um, but yeah, no, like I love people's processes. You know, um, Ray Bradbury used to write a short story before breakfast.
Mm,
The rest of the day was for whatever editing, correspondence, whatever. A lot of those short story. I mean, if you read his novels, they're really patched together short stories.
yep.
So a lot of those short stories would wind up becoming novels or whatnot. But that was his writing routine. He
Hmm.
would make a piece of toast and a cup of coffee, and before he had a real breakfast, he would write a short story.
I don't even have breakfast first. I mean, I don't write a short story every morning, but I
Right.
need to get, and I can't check my email. I can't do any of that stuff because boy, I tell you, when I had a dream of what a professional writer would be, and it's all like sitting there and writing, and it's like, no, it's sitting there doing emails. It's
Yeah.
just constant
Yeah.
and revising and looking at thumbnails, looking at inks, looking at colors, looking at lettering proofs. That's most of my job. I don't
Right.
get to write all that much, which
Well,
is one
a
of the
couple
reasons
hours a day.
yeah, Which is one of the reasons I've been enjoying novels, because like more of my writing time in novels is actual writing time. So
Any thoughts to adapt the novels at some point, or are you always going to keep
and
them
it's just,
separate?
it'd just be like revising my work. I mean, if somebody wanted
Well,
to
no,
adapt them,
it'd be handed over to you. Don't have to revise it. Let somebody else do the scripting.
yeah, there's always more stories though. I don't
Right.
like to work on.
Speaking of more stories, my wife wanted me to ask: is there more Rassle Castle at all in the back of your heads?
Not currently planned, but also
Because
not written
she
off.
both really wants to know more about the parents and really wants to know more about the adventures that Lydia goes on.
Nice. I do too.
So
The parents actually really developed through that
they
series, and I was
did.
really happy with that. They kind
And,
of,
well, and they developed hard at the end
mhm,
of the series, which I think
yeah.
is why it really sat with her. She's like, okay, they were all politics, all you must be this, and suddenly they're both wrestlers and they get it, and and how?
Yeah. Yeah, I love Lydia and the gang. So yeah, it's not out of the question that we'll get back there.
That would be cool.
Colleen and I are busy on a couple of other things now. Yeah,
Anything
I
that
don't have a whole lot coming out right now because, well, we
no,
talked.
I think after well, and I didn't I we haven't talked Voyage to Gourmet, and I need to at least say I adore your like team bio pages.
Those are fun. Those are fun to do.
Those are so much fun. And I have to ask you the question that I was so blown away on, and I actually want to try now, but I think my wife is afraid to. Peanut butter on pizza?
Yeah,
Do you?
I've done it. Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Different.
Different. Now, do you do peanut butter on like a regular pizza, or do you replace the sauce with the peanut butter? I mean, how are we
I've
talking for
slathered
people?
it on never on a meat pizza,
Okay.
but on like cheese pizza and pineapple.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I love pineapple. My wife doesn't believe in pineapple on pizza.
Hmm,
She thinks
that's
there's
too
something
bad.
wrong with me.
Yeah.
She's also into puns though, so I mean, I
Yeah.
love her. I love her.
Sure. Yeah. You make do for the people you love. This.
um, yeah. All right, my favorite question to wrap up with. Um, and you're clearly a comic guy. I like watching you on Blue Sky because you're clearly a long time comic guy. Um, a comic or three or whatever that you love, and you don't think enough people have read because you don't get to talk about it enough.
Jeez, I don't know. I wish I'd have prepared for this.
It's so much better to do it off the cuff, though.
Um, like comics that people should read.
Yeah. I mean, I phrase it the way I phrase it because I don't want you necessarily. It doesn't have to be, oh, this is the greatest comic ever, or
Mhm,
everybody who likes comics should read this. It's like how Howard Chaykin told me about Palomina, and it's amazing. And I,
mhm,
even as nuts as I am for comics, didn't know about it until he told me, and
mhm.
love the fact that I read it. Um, I am
Um,
always getting people into this or that thing because I just want to be able to talk about it. Um,
the
so
Dieter Lumpen stories, I think, are
very good.
fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna go with like a real European thing, like some of the works of Daniel Torres.
Okay.
Oh, Franca, um, by Henk. I can never pronounce his last name. Queechpers. Um, all the Sinner stories by Munoz.
You're managing to tell me stuff I don't like or don't know. I mean, I don't know if I like it. I will
Um,
probably like it. I like so many comics. I might have to have you send me an email because I'm not finding them immediately, and some of them I don't know if I'm spelling them right.
Right, because I'm terrible at pronunciation.
Well, and because you went uh European, which makes me happy because I want to know my European comics
mhm,
better.
right.
I
Have you
I
read the Corto Maltese stuff by Hugo
I've
Pratt?
read some of it. It's not easily it's out of print right now. It's not
Yeah,
available digitally. So it's like when I find it at a library or I find a inexpensive enough copy somewhere,
right.
I've got mediocre scanslations of some of them, that
Uh,
sort of thing.
yeah,
Um,
those are I love those so much. Those are important to me.
they're amazing. So this is the Adventures of Dieter Lumpen,
Yeah,
Jorge Zentner, and Ruben Hayero.
Polero. Yeah, Polero is great. Polero is actually on
And it's another one that the paperback is $90 on Amazon.
Polero has actually taken up the mantle of Corto Maltese.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those that's where I'm at. The Jose Munoz Sinners, I think, are fantastic. Um, all the Jordi Bernay torpedo stuff. And even
That
like
I do I love the torpedo stuff.
mhm.
Sinner
Any of the
Limpin is up
collected
my alley.
Toth material too. Alex
Yeah,
Toth, you can learn so much from him.
big fan of Alex Toth. So
Um,
it looks like you like crime stuff.
uh, I don't know that that's necessarily true because I mean I can throw Tintin. Well, I guess
Well,
Tintin's
no,
crime to a certain
I
degree.
get that. I just the three that you listed right now,
Yeah.
Sinner Lumpin and um
Well, Dieter Lupin is more like adventure and like the Daniel Torres space stuff, like
okay.
Triton and things like that are, boy, I don't know how I would categorize
I mean,
those.
I am in favor of liking crime stuff. I should make that like clear.
Hmm.
We we
I
we
guess
we,
it's not
we just
maybe like,
started. We just started what we're calling it the pulp blotter like crime comic book club podcast that'll be meeting once a month. If you're into crime stuff, I was going to invite you
nice.
to join us.
I don't know that I'm into crime stuff as more if I'm into like a base human level story.
Okay.
Um, but at the same time, I mean, if you've been following me on Blue Sky, I've been reading Planet comics right and left. So, a good space girl story is fine with me too.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the stories are terrible. They are just garbage, but I'm still having fun.
I mean, that's the thing about comics. Even in a lot of the bad ones, there's something to be found that's going to be interesting and fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I know one of the constantly reoccurring um, controversies, for lack of a better word, right now, going back to what we said about not enough words to describe things, is the whole who gets the appropriate amount of credit, writer versus artist, etc. And for me, I well, I think that I think that pretty much everybody deserves more credit than they get. I also think the way the world looks at it has to do with the ability of each role to make or break the comic.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of
If the
fascinating.
story's
Like,
not good, it doesn't matter how. I mean, very rarely can art save a comic
uh-huh,
if the story's not there.
right,
Art can absolutely kill a comic.
Ken.
Very rarely can inking save a comic
Hmm.
if the art and story aren't there.
Right.
Inking can totally kill a comic.
Every stage can kill it.
Very, very rarely can color
Hmm.
make a comic when those first three parts aren't there. But
There's
it can kill a comic.
down the line, if you keep
I
watching,
can't think of a single comic where nobody but the letterer did their job well that I think is
that you're like,
amazing.
oh yeah,
But I can think of comics where the letterer killed it.
blasted it. Yeah.
And I say this as somebody who has the utmost. I mean, we've. I was working at. We've had Hassan, we've had Clayton Coles, we've had Clem Robbins, we've had Darren Bennett all on the show. We've already had 4 letterers on our show in a year there, and I guess we're up to 2 years now. Whatever,
Mhm.
I don't think. I think there are long running comics podcasts who haven't had 4 letterers on
That's a
their
lot.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
don't
I
know
have
how I
more on my
think.
list because the letters are the ones that I am most fascinated with for 2 levels. First, it's the job that I love. I always love the psychology of how they decided this is what I'm going to do in comics.
Mm,
Because a lot of them can do art, some of them can write, blah blah blah. But at some point, they decided this is what I'm good at. I
hmm.
want to, and they all have different philosophies on exactly what they bring to the comic and how much they want to be seen or not seen or whatever. But then the other thing is they're the first person who gets to see the finished product.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nobody gets to see. I mean, they'll be the first to point out sometimes the colors come after the letter,
Hmm.
because crunch time you start. But for the most part, they're the first ones they get to see,
Right.
and that's just got to be a cool
Have
experience,
you had,
particularly when you're working
did
on
you say
something good.
Nate Picos? Have you had him
I
on?
haven't had Nate yet.
Because
Nate's
he's a
on
great
my
artist.
list. Yeah,
He's a great artist. And then like his
Chris
D&D
Eliopoulos is on
maps.
my list to reach
Yeah.
out to.
Taylor Esposito, yeah, I work with him a
Taylor
lot.
Esposito's on my list to reach out to.
Yeah. I
I
have
mean,
a lot.
I won't hesitate to follow a letterer
Hmm.
because again, they're fascinating people to talk. I mean, I think I
Yeah.
talked to Clem Robbins for 3 hours.
Woo. Yeah. Taylor and I are working a lot. Because forget if we did this on air or pre doing it, but yeah, after I had a lot coming out from Aftershock, and then Aftershock is in their troubles. So I'm in kind of a null zone of stuff coming
Yeah,
out,
is
but I'm
Aftershock even like? I mean, I guess they've actually finally put out a couple of comics recently, haven't they? Or is
yeah,
it
they've
just
done
they
a
finally
couple.
put
They're
out a couple
still trying to
trades?
claw out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I actually have quite a lot in works right now, and a lot of it is with Taylor on the
Okay.
lettering because I enjoy working with him a lot. He's fast and he's good.
Well, and that's the other thing that for the unsung heroes of comics, almost every writer I know has a preferred letterer.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tom King will only work with Clayton Coles.
Mm. Taylor and Nate are my two favorite. When I worked with Nate on way back on Colder, the horror series, there were panels that I was like, this is what I need, and I'm so sorry. but but I but I need all of this. And he would come through.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's fascinating again how like Hassan talked about he created a font once and never again. And Clem, who's old school, so you wouldn't expect it, was like, "Oh, I created a font and it was amazing. I'm always trying to
Hmm. Nate's always doing it. I can't believe how many
Right.
he's created.
Well, and Clem went on and on about how, you know, I realized that digital was the way it was going to go. I had to go digital, but what I love about hand lettering is it's not uniform. So I had to manage to create a font. So he's got like a 256 character font, and it's
Nice.
set up so that like the A is a random choice of 7 different A's
That's cool.
to try to make it
Yeah.
not and I'm
Just
like,
more organic. Yeah.
just the way Hassan's always thinking about how can I make the letters enhance the story without necessarily making you taking you away from the story. You,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a real
um,
art.
nobody is better than Clayton at managing, at least among the people I've talked to. I don't like that, but at managing to go. oh, you didn't give me a great place for this balloon, but I'm going to find a way to make it work anyway. I remember in an issue of Love Everlasting, he wove a tail through a horse's legs.
Nice.
You would have totally known that it was out of place if he hadn't wove it between the legs.
Hmm.
But because he actually wove it between the legs, it was just like, oh, this person's talking, but the
Yeah.
bubble's up here.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's a lot more organic that way. Yeah, it's a real art. I do like I miss though, like I think maybe you can tell I collect original comic art.
I do see that. I only have one. I've got a David Lapham page.
I've got
Um,
about 1,000.
yeah, no, I have noticed that comic writers like comic art,
Hmm.
and that
But
doesn't
yeah,
shock
but I
me
miss like the modern, I get a modern page and it's like there's no lettering, so I don't feel
right?
like I have the
Because it's
page. I
it's
don't,
not taped in. Yeah,
yeah, it's not hand
the
lettered.
old
Like most of
ones.
the most of what's on the wall for me is hand lettered.
Yeah.
So
No, David does his own lettering, so my letters are
yeah, he's good.
yeah.
It's a
Um,
nice page.
it was a birthday present from a friend of mine. I couldn't
Nice.
have afforded it on my own, though I think he was having a sale.
Uh, I can't. Original comic art is so expensive now that there's nothing on this wall that I could afford now. It's nuts.
Well, but you don't have kids, so if you ever need to make rent, you can choose the one that you like the least.
But they're all my children.
I get that too.
Uh,
Paul, it has been a blast. I hope that we get to talk again.
yeah, it's just fun.
I like talking comics with people who like to talk comics.
I
Um,
like talking comics.
even more fun when they also make comics.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was fun. I love actually, we're only an audio podcast, so I'm gonna take us out, but then before we leave, I want you to take me on a brief tour of some of the stuff that I can kind of see on the back of your wall.
Okay.
Because I've been staring at it all podcast. So so for Paul Tobin, this has been 22 panels. We will see you after the next page.
Thanks.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.